Hey everybody, I'm Katallina, and today we're here to talk about Vampire Dormitory Episode 7. Well, this is definitely the most exciting episode that this show has had all season. I really enjoyed how there was a mix of romance and danger and underlying currents, and I also really love the fact that we actually got a ton of new information, and that actually some characters made some very useful discoveries. I think we actually made some legitimate progress this go around, and I'm very happy to see it. Let's start with what you're probably here for, which is talking about the date between Luca and Mito, which was very interesting and which was also torture, and which in a way was actually also kind of shared with Len, because we have a situation with Len and Mito and all the stuff that happens there, and then we get Luca and Mito, because we all know Luca was definitely predisposed and could not get there quite as fast as he would have liked because there was shit going down. But let's talk about Luca and Mito first, I suppose. That kiss was beautiful, that kiss was very interesting, but that kiss has a whole bunch of different things going on with it that we absolutely need to discuss. First of all, of course, is the reality that we find out that kissing her for whatever reason has some kind of healing effect on him. We don't know whether it was her blood, we don't know whether it was because she is likely his destined partner, or whether because of the possibility of that destined partner thing, that kissing her has an effect in general. But from what I could see from it, and from the way that he reacted to it, it doesn't seem like it was as simple as getting some blood from her and that healing him. It seemed that the contact with her in that way had some kind of property to it, and that would make sense because I'm sure that there are very important reasons that it's so crucial that he actually find the person that he is supposed to be with, and why that is so intrinsically linked to him obtaining this leadership status. We already seem to have found out the reality that this leadership thing is somehow connected to obtaining powers that he got from Komori, and that there is some sort of transference or something that's gone on there. But we'll have to see exactly what the consequences of that are. The other thing we need to talk about in relation to that kiss, though, is the reality that, it was dishonest. Now, I mean, to be 1000% fair, he kissed her, so it's not her fault, and it's not her that led him on in that regard. But I mean, she needs to come clean, and she needs to own up to what's going on, because if she's going to continue to be involved with him in any way like this, it's dishonest, and it's just flat out wrong for her to keeping up the charade that they've been keeping up during this story. It's been fine so long as it was him using her for blood and her using him for a place to stay. But if there's going to actually start being real emotional stakes and the characters are actually going to start acting on them, then the sooner they actually deal with this, the better, because the consequences otherwise are going to be dire. Of course, just because that's what I think personally does not mean that's what we're going to get. My money says that Luca is not going to find out the truth about Mito until much later, whereas we know Len has figured it out by now because he didn't have any choice but to figure out. It kind of got flashed in his face, like, holy crap, dude. But it's really going to be annoying because the thing is, he's never going to really get to see Mito the way that she actually is and as herself and in truth during the time we're going to have spent with the characters, which means that everything that we're going to have seen from these two is going to essentially have been shrouded in this lie, and that's really annoying. Now that we've got Luca and Mito out of the way, let's talk about Mito and Len, because holy crap, dude, I feel for Len in this episode. I so feel for Len. He actually, I don't even know whether he consciously meant to do it from the way that he reacted to what happened, actually tells her his feelings, and as he's doing so, the great big firework just goes boom and blocks him totally out of actually being able to say what he wants to say. And then he has to see the two of them walk away together and everything. And I mean, then he's all hot and cold on her, but I mean, who can blame the poor guy? I mean, she doesn't really consider him for anything, or she doesn't really consider his feelings in anything, and she just seems to use him when it's convenient. It's a good thing for her that he came back in at the end there when he did, or she would have been fucking snake chow, man, because that was very, very close. I mean, the snake bit her. And while we're on the topic of the snake, my good lord, could we get this guy to be the new vampire leader? Because he's much brighter than Komori and Luca seem to be. considering that neither of them seem to be able to realize, or in Komori's case, maybe he is making it up. I don't know. Some days I believe it, some days I don't, but maybe Snake Boy should be the next freaking vampire leader, because holy crap, he seems to be the only one who clued in organically that Mito is a girl, and everybody else here, right up until poor Len ends up seeing her topless, is like, that's a boy! I cannot believe how stupid these characters are. I mean, it was an interesting enough premise in the beginning, but it's just gone beyond the point of absurdity at this point, and it's just like, oh my lord, you characters are dumb. Like, it doesn't work that way, and oh my gosh, that wig, guys, that wig, that has got to be so hot and so annoying at this point. As far as Len actually figuring it out though, thank goodness. We now know that at least one character, 100% confirmed, cannot deny it, cannot back out of it, cannot forget it, cannot lose it, knows that Mito is a girl. We have needed this as part of the story pretty much since the beginning. I never felt that every character necessarily needed to know, but Mito has needed to have somebody who knew, somebody that would be in her corner, and somebody that she could share her truth with pretty much from the start of the series. It'll be interesting to see how Len will actually take this realization and how he'll react to it, because I mean, it's really crappy, because I mean, Mito's been lying to all these people. And especially, like, Len has helped her out and stuff. It'll be interesting to see just how he'll actually deal with the reality of what he's found out. But anyway, overall, I thought this episode was pretty good for this show. As I've said 100 times, this show has quirks that drive me up the wall. But it is an interesting watch, and I do want to see what happens, and I do want to see how everything gets resolved. I did like seeing the vampires and seeing the whole altercation going on and everything. I'm glad to see that we're actually getting a bit more externalizing of the plot rather than just internalizing of it, because that will make for an overall more balanced and interesting story. But I think this week was pretty good, and I'm quite happy with where things are right now, and I'm looking forward to seeing what will actually be revealed when we get to the next episode. So what did you guys think of this one? Did you enjoy it? How are you feeling about Luca, about Len? What did you think of that whole snake vampire thing? What are your thoughts on everything going on with Komori? Do you trust him any further than you could throw a truck? I'd love to know, so drop a comment below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!